A long battle over the way Texas pays for public schools is back in the hands of lawmakers.
Today, the Texas Supreme Court rejected a lawsuit filed by school districts that claim the state's Robin Hood system is unconstitutional. No justice voted against it today. The justices overruled a lower court and said the system violated the Texas Constitution. Today's ruling acknowledged flaws in the system, but said changes must come from the legislature.
The latest lawsuit came after state lawmakers in 2011 cut more than $5 billion of funding for education. 600 school districts sued, claiming Texas did not provide enough money for schools, and the Robin Hood system created a de facto property tax. The Texas Supreme Court rejected both of those claims. Austin ISD was relying on the courts to change how schools are funded. Now, any change will most likely have to come from the legislature.
KXAN's John Dabkovich talked today to former school board president Gina Hinojosa, who's also running for the Texas House this November.
What was your reaction when you heard the ruling this morning?
It was like a punch in the gut. We've been relying on relief from the courts for our funding situation here in AISD. I'm disappointed in the ruling, but the ruling does nothing to negate the real needs in our schools, the real needs that teachers and parents and students themselves can tell you we have in our schools.
Realistically, do you think anything's going to be done in the legislature?
I think that if those parents and teachers and school districts make sure to make their voices heard during this legislature, I think the legislature has to act.
Is there a state, somebody we can look at and say, that's a model for how we should do it?
I don't know if there is a model out there. I know there needs to be more funding into the system. I know that no school district in this state is receiving adequate funding for our public schools. I know Texas likes to do things its own way, but even under our standards right now, we aren't doing what we need for our students.
School funding has been a hot topic in Texas for half a century. In 1973, several parents argued before the U.S. Supreme Court after 5 years in and out of court. They said the state school finance system discriminated against poorer districts. The federal justices said they had no jurisdiction, but urged state lawmakers to create a more equal system. Since then, the Texas Supreme Court has ruled on school finance laws a half dozen times. 4 times they called it unconstitutional. Before today, the only time the state's high court said school funding is legal was in 1995 when lawmakers created Robin Hood. The program takes tax revenue from property-rich districts like Austin and moves it into poorer districts like Hutto, Del Valle, and Lockhart.